So, Parth, what have you been eating?
Senor Alger, let me tell you.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I ate pasta.
Pasta. Like a true Italian. Tell me about the pasta accessories. Was there a red salsa?
There was a pomodoro sauce.
An Alfredo.
Just a little Parmigiano, little cheese.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, no.
Who
my
made
mom cooked the pasta. My
Classic.
dad made the sauce.
Team effort.
It's it was beautiful. It was
So,
beautiful.
let me guess. You didn't contribute at all. You just reaped the rewards?
I ate the food.
Have I struck a nerve? Yeah, but I mean, you didn't help out. You didn't do anything to earn it, right? Oh. Did I say something a little too accurate? A little poignant comment? Got you down?
Trent, what the fuck?
Can't take a little constructive criticism.
Trent, what did you eat today, huh? As I recall, you weren't even able to remember prior to this recording what you had, and you said, I don't eat that much. I have a pretty limited range of things that I eat, so it's kind of boring. That's how he talks, guys, off camera. It's all an act.
Wait. So that was your impression of me off camera?
Off camera, yeah.
But wait. But do an impression of me on camera. Is it different?
Hi. Well, it's like, hi, I'm Trent.
Oh, so that one's much more normal. So you're saying the side of me that isn't visible to the viewers is much uglier.
Uglier and more annoying.
So you're saying
generally less charismatic.
You're saying I have a face for radio right now. That's like the joke that you're circling around, but you couldn't work up the courage. You couldn't work up the courage to make it.
I mean, I didn't say any of those things.
So, Parth, thanks for asking. I had a bowl of tomato soup with some croutons.
Wow.
Made it myself, warmed it up in the microwave. I ran out of bowls, so I put it in a mug. That was different. Soup out of
What a little chef you are.
Yeah, they call did you know? I actually have a pen name. My pseudonym is Chef Boyardee.
Oh my god. Do you have the hat and everything?
No, but I'm neck deep in raviolis. Let me just say that. Have you ever had Chef Boyardee? I have not. But
I have not either.
I remember those commercials. The can followed you home from the grocery store. You remember that? Did you watch cable television, Parth? Did you have
From time to time. I don't really remember the commercial that you speak of, but I'll just pretend I do.
Parth, have you seen the movie Room? Where people are trapped...
Brie Larson?
Yeah, where people are trapped in a room?
No, I have not.
Oh, but do you know the premise?
Yes.
So you're saying that was your childhood, that you were raised in the room, and you're just trying to cover it up, being like, oh, I must have missed that commercial. But really, you were behind bars. You were raised in containment in a 4x6 cell.
Cue the intro. Bow down, 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 down.
Do you even... Alright, Parth, try to hum the outro.
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't think that's how the outro goes. Is it? No, I don't recognize what you're humming at all.
Because it doesn't sound like the instruments are different, but it's hard to imitate the instruments, but that is how it goes.
But I like our outro too. I like our intro. I like our intro a little bit more.
I think both go well together. Yeah,
I agree.
Should we keep this? All?
No.
Why not? I think these are the goods. I'm gonna keep this.
Editing room floor. Cut it.
No.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. What do you mean ready? We've already begun. This is staying in, right?
Parth, our singing, please, for the love of God, that is not meant for human consumption.
Bring us back in.
Parth, we have a podcast. Am I wrong?
No, you need to say welcome back.
Oh. Welcome back to Craft Services, our podcast, the show, where we talk about the movies. Each week we discuss a different film and hopefully have a person from that film who worked on it to discuss their experience. Who did we have this week?
The wonderful Daines Smith.
We interviewed her. Yeah?
On what film, Trent? What film is this?
The HBO Max exclusive, Lockdown.
Exclusive.
Is it?
Wow.
I think so.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, there was a grand premiere. Parth and I watched it on our respective laptops, and then we talked about it.
On whose HBO account, Trent?
On Parth's dad's HBO Max account. And
okay.
And then we all came together after all that adversity to discuss the film with a nice lady who worked on it, Daines Smith.
Yep, she was really cool. She had a lot of fun insights, and she was just on the whole
the Fast and Furious movies and some
two
and a Jurassic Park movie. So we had a lot to talk about. We asked her questions. She responded with answers. Very typical interview format.
Yep. So please enjoy the interview.
Enjoy the interview.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our interview with Daines Smith. She's an amazing production manager that's worked on such films as Fast and Furious 6, Ex Machina, Wonder Woman, and our film for today, Doug Liman's Lockdown. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we ask everybody, we start off by asking what got you introduced into the film world?
I think it's something that I always wanted to do, really, from as far as I can remember. Initially, I wanted to start out in natural history wildlife filming. That was my kind of passion since a child. So that was kind of really what I really wanted to do. So always wanted to go into that creative world. And then I think I was 19 and on holiday with my parents, and we ended up being sat next to a sort of UK actor called Daniel Casey, who was on a TV series called Midsummer Murders. And yeah, we got chatting to him. He was there with his wife, and we got chatting to them. And I just saw a bit of an opportunity and sort of begged him to give me some experience. I was studying at the time at Bristol University. I was studying a degree in drama, television, and film. And yeah, I was just desperate for some experience on set. So he said that he would get me a couple of weeks work experience with him. And yeah, and from that point on, I was just obsessed with doing it. So then sort of I carried on, I did my degree. And as part of my degree, you could sort of specialize in film or theatre, or whichever route you wanted to go down. And I specialized in film. And then I ended up organising a placement with Aardman Animations, who obviously do Wallace and Gromit, and pretty famous for animation. And I worked on a program called Creature Comforts with them as an assistant studio manager. So I did that sort of my dissertation on the role of a producer. And yeah, I was really lucky that they gave me an amazing opportunity when I was with them to sort of carry on working with them. So straight out of uni, I ended up working on another animation series with them called Chop Socky Chooks. And that was kind of my start in the world, really. I then went on to natural history, wildlife stuff that I was there for sort of 2-3 years. I did that and traveled around the world. Which was pretty amazing. And then I actually ended up moving to London, and the natural history world wasn't quite so prominent in London for me. So I decided to kind of slightly defer off and got an opportunity to start working in TV drama, which sort of then led on to film, and that's that. The rest is history, really.
So there are a bunch of questions to ask from all that, but one
Sure.
is, you mentioned Chops Sake Chooks, which is an animated show from Cartoon Network, and you were listed as a production assistant, and I was wondering what a production assistant does on an animated program.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was quite a long time ago, Trent, so I'll sort of try and remember back to what I did. But essentially, I was kind of the main contact for the entire team. So I would just really assist them with everything they needed, whether it came sort of down to admin, down to just kind of keeping track of everyone's times. Because of that, obviously, with it being a Cartoon Network co-production with Aardman, we had quite there was a real mix of obviously having to deal with a US network, which kind of meant a real technology shift that we had to do. I mean, back then it was quite a long time ago, and we had to really kind of do online conferences, and so I was kind of always organizing all of that. I was a real in-between between the team at Cartoon Network over in the US and then the Aardman kind of team, and then our direct animators and our kind of production team. So it would be anything from like storing all of the files to kind of keeping track of all the artwork, producing kind of beautiful Bibles that we would have for the series, kind of keeping track of scripts, all stuff like that. So good fun.
Very fun. So to get to our main topic of the day, how did you end up getting involved with Locked Down?
Yeah, so Locked Down was basically sort of came around from a really good line producer, exec producer that I have worked with on a couple of movies now, called Richard Whelan. And he is an incredible first AD, probably one of the best, I would say, in the UK. And he is also an exec producer. So, and I've worked with him on a couple of films, and he was an incredible support to me on some very difficult big movies that we worked on together. And he was putting together a team for this new movie. And obviously, I think actually when he called me, we were in lockdown at the time, or we may have just been coming out the other side in the UK. And he reached out to me. He wanted to put together a very small team because the idea was we wanted to make a COVID-friendly movie, and something that we could do in COVID times, which meant having a really small crew. Bearing in mind, we usually work with enormous crews on some of the bigger films that we've worked on. So we were looking at really just having HODs and a really, really tiny crew. So we were looking at sort of 35 people. So Richard really wanted to have people that he trusted and treat people that he really believed in. So yeah, he reached out to me and just said, I've got this Doug Liman picture. I would love you to come and work on it with me. We start prep sort of in a week or so, and he said it's a 3.5 week shoot. It's a feature film, and there's going to be sort of 2 big stars, and varying kind of sort of smaller parts coming in, cameo parts. And yeah, I just thought it sounded awesome. So I was sort of very quickly decided that it would be great to work on, and the whole thing happened incredibly quickly.
So you worked as the production manager. Can you tell us like the basic outline of that job's description?
Yeah, absolutely. It was fairly different for me on this one because of the speed of having to get this movie out and get it shot. Normally you would have a huge amount of prep, you would have, a huge amount of shoot time, and you'd have a huge amount of wrap. On this, we were, really looking at a couple of weeks prep, 3.5 week shoot, and a really small wrap to go into post. And again, the post was incredibly quick as well. But in terms of, so I guess what I'm trying to say on this, the role of a production manager was slightly different to how it would be on a normal movie. So when I came into the picture, Richard, who was the executive producer, had already done quite a lot of work. He'd already put into place a fairly firm schedule, which also had a corresponding budget to it. So when I kind of came on board, we then sat down with the other producers, and we really kind of just discussed how it was going to look in terms of how we were going to shoot it, looking at the schedule, looking at the locations, and all the logistics that were kind of involved in that. We did a lot of Zooms just to kind of work out, because Doug was in, I think he was in New York at the time, and Alison, our other producer, was also there. So we did a lot of creative Zooms to discuss the script, to discuss locations, and then PJ, who was our other producer, we sort of sat down with him and discussed costs and how we were going to make it work logistically. So I guess in the role of a production manager in prep is budget, very much kind of looking at the budget, how you're going to make that work in terms of the locations, your logistical costs, and just, how you're going to kind of make that work for the film. Crew hire, I mean, obviously we had such a short amount of time to get it shot. So really, we really had to kind of move very quickly in terms of bringing on people that we really trusted and knew. Travel and transportation, you kind of, again, that all comes in keeping with logistics and having an idea of where you're shooting, what you're shooting, trying to work out the quickest way to get crew to and from locations, how you're going to feed crew, all of that stuff. So that's kind of prep. And then I guess during shoot, it becomes more of again, it's budgetary, very much keeping on track of costs in terms of your hiring crew, in terms of hiring any equipment. All your costs are related around that, your costs of feeding everyone, transport, all of that kind of stuff. And then really it comes down to then just planning and coordination. So you're keeping on top of the next day ahead and the weeks ahead, and really trying to plan logistically what you need to make those shoot days run really smoothly. I guess that's it. I mean, obviously on this one, there was a huge COVID element that came into it that we've obviously never had to deal with before. And that was a huge learning curve. We brought on a great company because we really wanted to do it properly and keep everyone super safe. So we brought on a company to help us with the logistics of the COVID testing and kind of coming up with risk assessments and rules and regulations that all the crew and the cast had to stick to. And that obviously created quite a lot more work for us. But as film crew, we're pretty good at adapting. So we adapt pretty quickly. So I think, I guess in a nutshell, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, you kind of touched on what my next question was going to be, which was like, I think this was like, I follow Doug Lyman on Instagram, and like I was like shocked when he started posting stuff on his story about like he's starting to film a movie with Anne Hathaway and Chiwetel. Like I was like shocked. So I was wondering if you could get into the specifics of like how COVID really affected the shoot, and like, because I've been seeing some things where like you get tested every 3 days, or you get some TV shows you're testing every day. So like, what was for this shoot? What were your constraints that were put on to you by COVID?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was really difficult. And I mean, firstly, in terms of budget, we had to set aside a lot of money, a chunk of money that we knew that we had to spend to keep the cast and the crew safe. And Doug and Alison, you know, when they kind of came up with the concept for the movie, I know that Doug was just super keen to show that we could make a feature film, really, and do it under COVID environment and keep everybody safe and still make a great movie. So we really had to learn very quickly, and we brought on professionals. We brought on a health and safety company that were sort of learning and adapting themselves, but they were advising us on what we needed to do. We also had to, you know, we were SAG, which is the Screen Actors Guild, because we had American actors involved. So to be approved by SAG, they had some quite strenuous requirements that we had to really stick to. So in prep, that was something that we had to spend a lot of time making sure that we had the budget and the facilities set up to be able to do all of the COVID testing, and that I mean, it really went across the board. Everybody had to be tested. Some people who were super close to the actors, anyone on screen, all had to be tested at least 3 times a week. And yeah, it was a lot. But as I say, I think crews adapt super quickly. We are all used to kind of problem solving and making stuff happen, and we were all super grateful to be working. So in terms of the logistics of it, we did a lot of prep, a lot of planning. Everybody obviously had to wear masks, and there was definitely the respective distance. We provided a lot of kit to keep everybody safe. One of the big changes was food and craft service. We couldn't have people hanging out a craft service van like a lot of people normally do. We had to have individual people who ordered their food, and then they had to have individual bags brought onto set that they would collect with their names on. And yeah, it was definitely different, and it definitely had its challenges. But incredibly, the crew and the cast were absolutely incredible, and everybody was super, super safe. We had a COVID health and safety advisor who was with us the entire time. He would provide risk assessments for us daily that the crew had to read and understand. We also had a medic on set who would do all of the testing. And we had a PA who was doing cleaning and just kind of generally keeping everything safe on set. So yeah, it was pretty intense. And obviously there was a lot of fear at that time. So we really just wanted to kind of keep everyone safe. And yeah, and amazingly it worked. You know, we were a tiny crew, and everyone was really incredible and really got on board with what we were trying to do. And it was tricky, but it was great.
You pulled it off. So some actors are only seen through Zoom, and we were wondering if their roles were done entirely remotely, or if they still had to come to set.
Yeah, so we had some incredible cast, and the cast that featured only on Zoom worked completely remotely. So yeah, we didn't meet them at all, apart from over Zoom or whichever format they appeared on, which was incredible. And at first we were unsure how it was going to work, but Doug had a very clear kind of creative idea of visually how it was going to work. And then we employed a company who came in and sort of looked at the technical kind of side of it, of how we would record it. And we decided that to keep everything super COVID friendly and really careful, we would only have a remote sound recordist go with a drop kit to to the remote actors' residence, to their homes. So we would often have a really interesting kind of time zone situation. Like Ben Stiller obviously was I think he was just outside, I think he may have been in New York. So we sort of had to work out, Dan Channing Williams, who's our amazing first AD, did an incredible job with kind of scheduling these shoots where we were obviously working across time zones. And yeah, we had these remote sound guys who were all over the UK, all over. We had some in Sweden, we had Vienna, LA, I think, and New York. So it was amazing.
But the actors were actually interacting simultaneously. They weren't like cut and then edited together.
Yeah, no, everybody Zoom called in at the same time. Yeah, awesome. It was really cool.
That's much cooler.
You brought him up a little bit before, but how was Doug Liman to work with? Because he seems like a very interesting guy.
We love Doug Liman.
Yeah.
We all love Doug Liman. Yeah, he is amazing, and he is he's a visionary and is just completely passionate about filmmaking. And when he's in the zone, and he's absolutely incredible and wild, as you would probably expect. I think sort of one of my first proper experiences was when Doug was asking us about flying his own plane over to the UK to film the movie, and my gut feeling, having worked on big studio pictures, was like, there's absolutely no way we can do that. It's not going to be safe. But we made it happen, and he did it, and it was a very cool way to start the movie. But no, he was absolutely amazing, and he's an awesome director, and incredible to see him working. And I mean, I guess from a production manager's point of view, he was so aware of the COVID situation, and so aware that he wanted this movie to be safe, that even creatively he would always be conscious of the COVID kind of procedures, and always be encouraging of everyone to be safe. And he was so supportive of his crew. Everyone became a bit of a family, because we were Anne and Chiwetel, with us every day, and we were, I think, for 2 weeks we were in a tiny house, all of us kind of together. So it became a bit of a family. So it was awesome.
Anne Hathaway is one of my celebrity crushes, so I envy you. Was she awesome? She seems awesome.
Oh, she's absolutely incredible. She is just, I was actually really lucky to work with her on Alice Through the Looking Glass. And I was the same as you, Trent. I thought she was awesome. I've always loved her. And she was incredible on that. And to actually be able to work so closely with her on this was amazing. And to see her, so, I mean, this was brutal for those guys in terms of filming. I think on a normal feature film, obviously, I mean, on a big feature film, you shoot so slowly, and you shoot tiny sections at a time. And on this, we were shooting between 10 to 14 pages a day of script. Whoa. Which is, I mean, unheard of. Even in the TV world.
Usually it's like 3 to 4.
Yeah, exactly. If that, when I've worked on action movies, it's been, sometimes we don't even shoot a page a day, So for these guys to shoot a 10-page, 10 to 14 page heavy dialogue 2-parter was kind of mind-blowing. And sometimes we were dealing with British weather, which is always fun, and dealing with issues as sometimes things will happen, and we would maybe have to change up a scene, and the guys would just switch and do these incredibly dialogue heavy scenes. And I mean, they blew me away, really. It was incredible. But yeah, she's awesome.
So not necessarily for Lockdown, but just as like a production person in general, how do you go about like guesstimating how long a shoot will take and scouting locations and budgeting, just like broadly all of these responsibilities? Like, how do you go about thinking how much something costs and where to do it and how and why, you know?
Yeah, I guess it comes a lot with experience of previous shows. So in terms of costing something, you really you learn that on the job. You know, you can kind of guess stuff early on, and then as you're going through prep, you obviously go through and just kind of confirm those costs as you go. Guessing the time is an interesting one. I mean, I don't have enough experience probably being a fairly new production manager at the early stages of really breaking down a script and really working out how long it's going to take to shoot. Richard Whelan, obviously, on this one, he was super quick to break this down because we were under time constraints. So we kind of knew we had to shoot it in 3.5 weeks. We knew that's all we had. Whereas on some of the bigger films, it would really be a first AD would come in and really kind of schedule and break everything down. And then they would work alongside a production manager and an exec producer or a line producer to relate that to kind of costing it out in terms of what you need and what the requirements are to get that shot. I guess in terms of locations, it's you bring locations on pretty quickly. So you bring on a sort of key location manager. They will work quite closely with the director and the production manager to really kind of pinpoint the key locations that you need. Then they will quite often work with a scout, or they'll just know locations that they need, and they will go off and find locations. Obviously, they'll come up with a number of varying locations that are suitable for the shoot. On this one, for example, Harry, our location manager, went away and Doug was still over in the US. So we did quite a few Zoom creative calls where we kind of talked through the locations, how they would work creatively to shoot, and also how they would work in terms of logistics. And we wanted to keep everything super close, obviously bearing in mind COVID again. We wanted the actors to not have to travel too far from where they were staying, and we don't want the locations to be spread all over London. So we kept everything super local, which makes it more difficult for the location manager, but it kind of made it easier for us with the logistics. I think is that everything?
That's everything.
I think that's a solid amount.
Good.
So you've mentioned a few jobs, and on previous movies, you've worked as a production coordinator, which I'm going to assume is below production manager. And we were wondering if you could like sort of explain the hierarchy, like as a production manager, who do you report to, and like what's that whole deal?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a production manager, you're really like the center of everyone. You're right in the middle of everybody. So you're the kind of person that all of the HODs will come to get sign off and approval on any costs, on any decisions that kind of need to be approved. So everything really should come across your desk. In terms of, yes, and then I guess the production manager, again, really ultimately the decisions lie with you, and anything cost related should come through you, and any kind of big decisions should come through you. So there's a real kind of funnel. So you're really across everything. You really have an understanding of everything that's going across, but you also have to really be quite proactive in your relationships as well with your crew and especially your HODs, and making sure that they have everything they need, and that they're on track. In terms of a coordinator, I mean, actually, I guess in terms of production manager, who you're essentially your bosses will be your exec producer, and your producers and your director. So you will work really super closely with them as a team, and then you kind of work within all of your crew. And then, so the coordinator, in terms of structuring on a big movie, so now you would have your director, you would have your producers, you have a creative producer, or maybe a few creative producers, and then you often have more kind of exec producer roles who are much more about kind of budgets and financials. Then you have your production manager. You then often now have a production supervisor. They'll often work far more across hiring crew and kind of keeping track of equipment hire and things like that, depending on the size of the movie. Then you the coordinator, which I mean has been my role for quite a long time, and it's again, you're right in the middle of everyone. You're the sort of person that is responsible for I guess for communicating everything about the film to everybody that's working on it. So you should kind of be known by everyone. You're in the production team, you'll have assistant coordinators, and PAs and secretaries, and they'll all kind of make up your production team unit. And yeah, it's a pretty full-on job. Obviously, prep is kind of crazy. You're working to work out the logistics. You're crewing. You're contracting. You're doing a lot of admin, working out what you need to shoot in terms of equipment, hire. You're organising any tests, any recce's that may need to be organised. There's a lot of paperwork, and then especially if you're working for a studio, there's often a lot of studio paperwork that you have to, for each studio it's completely different for what they require. And yeah, you crew up pretty quickly, you crew up your team pretty quickly, and then you start to crew up for the rest of the crew, and then once you get to shoot, sort of depending on where you are, really. Often with a studio picture, you'll be based at a studio, and you will have some stage shooting and location shooting, depending on the movie. And when you're shooting, you'll be based in the production office and sort of on and off set, just checking in. And then when you're on location, you'll be based on a production trailer, often with the ADs or in your own production trailer. And yeah, and it's super exciting. It's a really, really fun job, and it's full on. It's full on. It's a full on job. You work incredibly long hours. I think you have to be a special kind of weird to really love it. But if you love film, then it's amazing.
So speaking of that, I believe you were just in Malta for the new Jurassic World movie, and that ties into, like you just mentioned, you have to go to whatever exotic places that the shoot may take you?
Yeah, I think I guess that's kind of why a lot of people would love to work in film, because they see it as being such a glamorous industry, and there is that side of it. There's definitely travel involved. I think in the UK we have such a incredible film industry over here, that a lot is shot in the stages and in the studios, and then we have some obviously incredible locations that we film in. But I guess so Jurassic was quite interesting for me, because normally, my past, I worked as a main unit coordinator for quite a long time across quite a few Disney films and some massive movies, and then I started to go down a second unit coordinator route, which is more of the kind of action shooting. and that is smaller units, and tends to be a little bit more on location. So Jurassic was new for me because I wasn't actually working on the main unit or the second unit of the production. I was actually working as a coordinator for the Malta unit. So we went out there to set up with a really small UK team to kind of set up the locations. We worked with amazing local Maltese crew. I'm sure you guys know, there's a big Malta film kind of presence over there. So they have some amazing crew. So we worked with the local guys over there to just set up the locations, set up crew hotels, work out the logistics of everything that would be required for 2 huge Jurassic units to come in and shoot. But obviously while we were out there, sadly, that was when COVID started to get pretty bad. So we actually didn't end up finishing it, sadly. It got put on hold. But I know the guys that actually did end up finishing off, and they said it went incredibly well. So, but yeah, I guess in terms of travel, there is definitely travel related to, and you do have to be prepared to kind of move around and shift around. But you do know that before the job, so you can kind of pick and choose a little bit if you're lucky.
Another movie he worked on that I'm personally very excited for is The King's Man, which is a fun title. Just what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was probably one of my favorite recent films to work on. It was a huge challenge for us because it was actually the film. I think it was the second unit film that I'd coordinated, and I'll explain it. I'm sure you guys know this, but obviously the main unit shoot everything to do with the actors, and they're a huge unit, and then you have your second unit that is very much action based, and they'll shoot a lot of the stunts. So often the second unit is a lot shorter. It would be a lot smaller crew, and yeah, it won't be for anywhere near as much time as the main unit shoot. But on this, we actually shot for 10 weeks, and we shot alongside the main unit. And I mean, it was pretty bonkers what we were shooting. The Kingsman movies are hugely action based, and we had some incredible stuff that we were shooting. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer, but there's an opening shot of a big kind of battle sequence, which we actually finished our shoot on. And I think it's probably one of the biggest outdoor sets I've sort of ever seen in terms of what we had to put together for it. It was enormous. We had multiple camera units, we had multiple crew units, we had I think we had something like 7 cranes for varying things, and it was absolutely enormous, but it was incredibly exciting. And yeah, it's going to be a really, really awesome movie.
So shifting gears a little bit, do people in your department, do they typically work freelance, or do they just sign up for a company and then get taken from movie to movie?
Yeah, I'm definitely freelance over here. It's for TV, for film, it's definitely freelance, and which makes it a bit more tricky. It definitely makes it harder, especially when you're starting out. But I think sort of once you've got a foot in the door, and once you're working in that world, and you're in some of the bigger films, or even some of the smaller films, you're sort of in that network, and you're talking to people, and you hear stuff that's coming up, and you kind of get to know people. You often get taken across. I was very lucky to work with an amazing team kind of early on in my career across sort of 4 or 5 movies. And then Kingsman and Jurassic was with a great production manager, Matt Jones, who took me across from film to film. So yeah, if you're lucky, a lot of this business is really about communicating and building connections with people. And if you can do that, then you're pretty set, because people will always look after you if you kind of look after other people. So yeah.
So you've worked in TV as well as movies, obviously.
Yeah.
And what's the sort of main difference in how you work, I guess? And like, because the main thing we've basically heard is that it's just a lot faster because of the rapid pace of TV. But yeah, if you could speak on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I exactly that, Parth. It's just very quick. It's much quicker than film. It's smaller scale. Obviously lower budgets, which means you have sort of less time, less resources. So, I mean, I think there can sometimes be a snobbery between people thinking that film is kind of greater than TV, and I absolutely don't agree. I think that if you can cut your teeth on TV and do well in TV, then it's an incredible. It doesn't even need to be a platform. People do jump between the two, and I mean, I absolutely have successfully, and really enjoy the challenge of both. I think in TV it can feel a little more exciting because you're a bit smaller. You're sort of a bit more important in a kind of smaller team. I mean, I had some incredible jobs where I worked on Luther. I don't know if you guys have seen Luther with Idris. Luther kind of was unbelievable to work on, and then the production team that I worked with on Luther took me on to Death in Paradise, which is a UK series based out in Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. So we went out for 8 months to the Caribbean and set up the shoot
nice
there.
Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah, right. So, like, it was, that in itself was just the most incredible experience, because we had to completely set up a shoot somewhere where nothing had been shot before. So we were shooting on an island, which just created its own issues, and it was absolutely amazing. And we shot for, because we were shooting a big series, we were out there for like 8 months, and we shot that in blocks. So there's a whole scheduling difference. And yeah, it's very different. And I mean, I guess the most obvious is the pace of filming. You're the kind of pace that we were filming Locked Down was far more like TV. So us feature film people weren't we were a little bit shocked when it came to Locked Down and the speed that we ended up having to shoot in. So I think if you can have some experience in TV, it's absolutely a positive thing. It's great.
So you worked on both Fast 6 and Hobbs and Shaw, and we were wondering what is the process of like returning work on subsequent installments, or if it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question. It is coincidence. Absolutely. So actually, Fast 6 was one of my first kind of big feature films that I worked on, and a lovely production coordinator, Winnie Wishart. I was in the industry, and I was green and new and desperate to work on a big feature, and I just emailed her my CV and said I was super keen, and she was crewing up for Fast. And she said, look, I'm looking for a departmental coordinator for the action film, for the action cars on this. Would you be interested? And the reason she actually wrote back to me was because she really liked my CV and what I'd written in my email to her, and she really related to my previous experience. So so she really gave me an opportunity, and so yeah, I worked on Fast 6, and it was crazy working with all the cars, and again, I mean, very transferable. It was all kind of admin and keeping on track and making sure we could have the right cars wherever they were needed, and transporting them, getting them around, permits, all that kind of stuff. So it was a really great learning experience. And then Hobbs and Shaw was incredible for me, because I actually got onto that. The main unit production team were a team that I'd worked with before, and the supervisor that came on for the second unit, I'd also worked with her before. So I was in a really nice position that I knew the film was crewing up, and ended up getting a phone call and being asked to coordinate the second unit for Hobbs and Shaw. And it was, I think, probably one of my favorite movies to work on. We were filming with Simon Crane, who I'm sure you guys know of him. He's I think the best second unit director out there. He's absolutely incredible. And yeah, that was my first movie working with Richard Whelan, who is the exec producer who I mentioned on Lockdown. And we just had, I mean, an incredible time. The stuff that we were shooting was jaw-dropping. It was pretty cool.
I'm curious about your involvement in Ex Machina, if you don't mind, real quick, fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to think how I got into Ex Machina. I think it may have been word of mouth. I think I knew that they were crewing up, and I'd heard who the production team were going to be. I was a really big fan of Alex Garland, and I just and I was just super keen to work on the movie, and was really lucky to land the position. And I guess I sort of similar to Lockdown in a way. It was a very different movie to work on. It was very small. We were a small crew. It was studio based. You know, they kind of built the entire kind of set on like one stage. We did have obviously some location work for it, but the majority of the filming was kind of on that one stage. And yeah, it was awesome. And yeah, the cast were incredible. Alex was incredible. The whole team. It was really cool. It was one of those kind of really proud movies to be a part of.
So one of our last few questions we want to ask is if you have any advice for people that are like getting started in the industry, and like how to stand out from other people, and like
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it's really important. And I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. And I think, like you guys are showing with this amazing podcast, if you can really show a passion for film, you'll really stand out to anyone in the industry. That's kind of first and foremost. I remember one of my first interviews that I had as a producer's assistant on WE, which was directed by Madonna. The producer asked me, I'm trying to think what the three questions were. I think it was, what is the size of film that we shoot on? What was the latest movie that you've seen? And there was a third one, I forget, but they were all around, you know, making sure that I was really into film. I wasn't there just to, you know, for a ride. So I think, yeah, really showing that is super keen, and that will make you stand out. It's a difficult industry to get into, and it's difficult to get that kind of first break for sure. But I mean, I hounded people. I emailed people. I sent my CV out to thousands of people from directories, and, you know, never got any replies. I'd get the odd reply here and there, but then one lead would work out, and talk to your friends, talk to your family friends, like anyone that has any connections. That's often a really, really good way. And I guess LinkedIn is quite a new thing for me. It's not a massive thing that's used in the industry, but I do get a lot of people approaching me through LinkedIn. And I mean, I'm really happy to say as well, anybody is welcome and very welcome to approach me on LinkedIn for any advice. I'm always really happy to help. And yeah, I think just really knowing your stuff, and then once you're in is then almost as important, is because you are freelance, you're really as good as your last job, and you ideally do want to get taken on with the people you're working with. So ideally, you really need to show willing. You need to be hardworking. You need to be committed. You need to be able to build rapport with your crew. Show that you're really keen. Show that your attention to detail is there. All of those things will really make you stand out from the crowd. So yeah, I think that's really it. Just be super hardworking, super keen, and just if you've got a passion for it, you'll find a way.
Trent, you want to ask our big last question, or
our big last question is, what's the last great movie you've watched?
Oh, yeah, good question. I think actually I rewatched recently The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, a bit of Shia. And I just love it. I just love it. I just think it's one of those films that it's, relatively small budget in terms of movies. And I just think it has heart and is absolutely beautiful. I also actually at Christmas also watched Last Christmas, which is a British new Christmas movie. I don't know if you guys saw it, but a lot of my friends worked on it, and again, I think just quite poignant and a lovely message, and yeah, just really beautiful.
Well,
Trent, please.
Well, Daines Smith, thank you so much for coming on. You've been a wonderful guest. Thank you for giving us your time.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
She worked on Doug Liman's Lockdown and a bunch of other great movies.
Check it out on HBO Max.
Check it out on HBO Max. Thank you. Have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, that was a great interview. Trent, what would you say?
I'd say a great interview. Yeah, exactly. Well put.
Thank you. I'm not used to praise, Trent.
I know.
Especially by you.
It's mostly just like direct criticism.
It's like vitriol, yeah.
Uh.
But yeah, thanks so much to Daines Smith for talking with us about her work on Lockdown. She's just a great person. We're super happy to have had her on the show.
Parth, are we gonna have more guests?
Well, Trent,
is this the
yes,
end? Is this
I
the
hope.
end of the line?
I'm glad you asked that after every single time we record one of these. It never gets old.
It's always good to be ready for the end,
Yeah, preparatory stuff and whatnot. But
because if like one of us if you were to mysteriously disappear,
right.
Like I couldn't carry on without you.
Exactly.
Or is that just exactly what the show needs?
Not me.
No, I'm saying
why don't you schedule the interviews?
If you happened to go missing, then I wouldn't want to leave the fans hanging, and maybe it would be good to change things up. All right, never mind.
Who would you have in my place?
We'll get to that later. Right? I don't want. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it. It's
gonna be Alex Lane, isn't it?
Once you're his DVD collection is the best I know of. But once you're thoroughly gone. All right, Parth, what have you watched most recently?
I just rewatched The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, what'd you think?
I love it.
Was it because you made a Bane back cracking joke on yesterday's podcast?
Oh, well, the joke was because I watched it.
Oh.
Do you want to hear my Bane impression?
Is it good or is it intentionally
I think it's
bad?
excellent. I think it's excellent.
Go. Yeah, sure.
Ah, yeah! I was wondering what would break first. Your spirit or your body?
What'd you think?
It's
Did you like it?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Okay, I'm glad you thought so.
Can you do a Joker impression?
What do you want me to say?
I'm the Joker, baby.
Do you want like Heath Ledger Joker or like from the video? You want me to?
I feel like a Heath Ledger Joker would be kind of asking for too much. So just stick to what we know. Actually.
Okay, this is my classic.
I'm curious to hear.
I can do both.
Please, yeah, you have the floor.
Okay, so I'll do Heath Ledger first, and then, it's like I'm the Joker, baby.
That's pretty good. All right, let's hear.
You want to know how I got these scars? Yeah. And then from the video, it's I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm the Joker, baby.
Oh my God, Trent.
Did you
I
like
thought
that?
it was you. I thought that was the video.
Oh, that was me.
Oh my God. That's
Wow.
crazy.
All right. Well, the most I watched. Well, I want to hear. Do you like Dark Knight Rises or Batman Begins more?
I think Batman Begins is a tighter movie, but I enjoy The Dark Knight Rises more.
Yeah, I vaguely remember Batman Begins, and I don't like it at all. But I like Dark Knight Rises a lot. But
I'll turn you, Trent. I'll turn you.
My sister watched The Dark Knight for the first time the other day, and I was like,
Did she like it?
Yeah, but I was like, I can't believe you've been on Earth this long. And wait, can you do a Christian Bale Batman impression?
What do you want me to say?
I'm Batman, preferably.
I'm Batman.
I mean, yeah, it's very deep. It's very raspy. You got all the elements. I'll try. I've never tried it, but I mean, it could be embarrassing and inaccurate. But do you want me to try?
Probably both. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm nervous. I'm sorry. Don't laugh.
Come on, God damn it!
I'm gonna muffle. I'm Batman. No.
No, you're not.
Your Heath Ledger Joker was good though. All right, so I watched Terminator 2, or I'm in the process of watching Terminator 2.
Classic.
I was thinking back, and I haven't watched it in at least 5 years. But
Oh my God.
it was one of the first rated R movies I saw.
You know the first rated R movie I ever saw?
What
The Matrix.
is it rated R for violence?
It's just violence, but there's not much blood or anything. I don't know why it is rated R, to be honest.
Is there cursing?
There's no F words.
Really?
Yes, I'm not really sure why it's rated R.
Isn't there nudity in the later Matrix movies?
There's nudity in the second one, but also not really.
Who is naked? And how is it not really?
I think you see Keanu Reeves' bum.
Oh, do you think there was a butt double, or do you think that was his real life butt?
No, I think Keanu Reeves is a method actor. I don't think he would let somebody else's
Parth, if I was making a film and I needed a man to be naked, would you be comfortable letting your butt appear? Or would you need a butt double if you were in my theoretical, in this position?
Yeah, Trent, I think this was a great interview, and I'm really excited for next week's episode. I think it's going to be really good.
We're not able to announce what it is at this time, but you'll just have to stay tuned and be surprised.
Well, thanks again to Ella Daines Smith. We hope to have her on again at some point in the future, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Join us next week for Redacted.
To be announced. We don't know what's coming next.
We have an idea, but we don't want to confirm it.
Because it's we don't want to say what it's going to be, and then that not happen, and then disappoint you guys, so.
Let the podcast end.
Bye, guys. This is the Joker speaking. Goodbye.
The podcast is ending now.